Good morning and welcome back to the studio. I hope you all are doing well. As you would have seen, I spent my morning at the beautiful wildlife refuge. I find that that's just the perfect way to start the day, to be immersed in nature, in the quiet of the morning in particular, especially now as it's so chilly in the mornings. It was just so beautiful and refreshing, and it's just always so inspiring to be amidst so much wildlife, both flora and fauna, and I just absolutely love starting my day that way. So that was wonderful. And today is Tuesday. I've spent the last couple of days working on packing up September's Patreon rewards for those who sign up for my mini print or mini print and sticker. If the Fox in the Library illustration is something that you would like to get a physical copy of, you still can sign up under my Wild Fox or Delightful Deer tiers to receive that mini print for this month. I won't be selling it in my shop, so if that is something you'd like to have a physical copy of, I know so many people really like that illustration, you can sign up for this month at any time up until the very last day of September to be able to receive that. It was also pumpkin season starting this last weekend at our local Trader Joe's, so I went and picked out a couple of pumpkins and some flowers to put on our stairs to our tiny home to decorate a little bit. And I got to enjoy it for about 24 hours before the squirrels came and feasted on my pumpkin selection. It's totally fine. I'm glad they enjoyed them. Jake and I still want to go to a pumpkin patch sometime this fall, so I'm not too disappointed, but I thought it was funny that it took less than 24 hours for them to feast on 4 pumpkins. Anyway, so for today's video, I just wanted to spend another cozy day doing some of the things that I love and lean in again to the autumn season and maybe do some fun seasonal things. So for my plan for today, number one, I want to go to Powell's to pick up a couple of books. I'm thinking towards the end of this video, I'm going to be sharing a collection of autumn-themed children's books or picture books that I have collected, and also a couple of new ones that I want to go pick up at Powell's. So many of you have asked or inquired about my children's book collection, and it's just so large. I just have felt overwhelmed on how to share or showcase some of those books, and so I thought this would be a perfect introductory way to showcase some of those books and share them with you without it being like a stack of 50 to 100 books. So I'm going to select a few that are either set in the autumn season or maybe have that cozy atmosphere and vibe of autumn and fall. So I'm very excited to share those with you, and I hope you will enjoy that little section of the video that'll come a little bit later. But first, like I said, I want to go to Powell's, pick up a couple of those picture books that I've been wanting. And of course, I will take you around the bookstore as well. And then when we get home, I would love to make this, I think it's a pumpkin caramel sauce for drinks. I saw a friend of mine create this recipe for like iced coffee or even hot coffee. It was like her own homemade recipe for a pumpkin spice type of syrup, and so it looks really easy. I have all the ingredients, so I really want to try to make that and then have an iced coffee later this afternoon with that. And then I would love to paint a little bit. Not sure what, but probably something autumnal. and I have this candle making kit that I've put off doing, but I got these beeswax sheets, and you roll them up yourself, and while putting like the wick in the middle, and you kind of make your own beeswax taper candles. So I thought that would be a fun thing to do today. And I'd just love to have a cozy evening watching something or reading, and maybe lighting a couple of our newly made candles. So it's just gonna be a chill, enjoyable day, and I hope that you will enjoy. So without further ado, let us head out to Powell's and have a good browse around the bookstore and pick up a couple new books. Okay, so now it is time for my giant pile. And I said it was going to be small, and it's quite the collection of autumnal themed or feeling picture books. So what I think, because I have so many, I think what I'm going to do, the quickest way to get through these so this segment isn't an hour long, I will just say what the title is, who the author and illustrator are, and then I'll read a little summary blurb if it has it, and if it doesn't, I'll try to share a quick little something about it while I showcase some of the illustrations on the inside. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it. So, for some of the smaller little books that I have, first is Autumn Story by Jill Barklam. So this is the Autumn Story in the Brambly Hedge world, which is a little community of mice that she follows, and you just enter into their world, and she has one for each season and then a couple other books. So this one in particular is the autumn themed one. Next is The Tale of Squirrel Nutkin by Beatrix Potter. I had to include one of Beatrix Potter's books. Her artwork is so stunning and beautiful, and this one in particular follows Squirrel Nutkin and has a lot of autumn themed colors and characters, such as the red squirrels and the owls. So that's why I included this one. Alright, next is Snow and Rose. This is the only chapter book I included, but she includes a lot of her artwork and illustration in this version, so that's why I thought I would include it. Snow and Rose were two sisters, as different as night and day. They lived in the woods, but it hadn't always been so. Once they lived in a big house with spectacular gardens and an army of servants. Once they had a father and a mother who loved them more than the sun and moon, but that was before their father disappeared into the woods and their mother disappeared into sorrow. This is their story, and the story of the enchanted woods that have been waiting for them to break a set of terrible spells. Next is Little Witch Hazel by Phoebe Wall. I've always admired her artwork and art style. Little Witch Hazel is a tiny witch who lives in the forest, helping creatures big and small. She's an intrepid explorer, a hard worker, and a kind friend. In this 4-story volume, Little Witch Hazel rescues an orphaned egg, goes sailing on a raft, solves the mystery of a haunted stump, and makes house calls to fellow forest dwellers. But when Little Witch Hazel needs help herself, will she get it in time? The next one is a newer one, or newer to me. It's called Possum's Harvest Moon. This is one that I recently picked up at Powell's, and I just picked it up because of the illustrations. I thought that it was a charming book and a charming story as well. The next one is Fletcher and the Falling Leaves. This is another one that I recently picked up at Powell's. This one is written by Julia Rawlinson, and the illustrations are by Tiffany Beek. As the leaves fall from his favorite tree, Fletcher worries that something is terribly wrong. But then winter comes, and with it, a wonderful surprise. Next up is Woodland Dreams by Karen Jameson, and illustrations by Mark Boutavant. Don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Say goodnight to all your favorite woodland animals as they prepare to sleep, each with their own special nighttime routine. Watch as every animal returns to their warm and cozy woodland home, from the fox curling up in her den to the turtle dozing off in his shell. And once every creature is tucked in tight, shh, it's time to say goodnight. Next is one called It Starts With a Seed. Watch a tiny seed grow into a wildlife wonderland. This is written by Laura Knowles, and the illustrations are by Jenny Weber. As the title says, it is just a book showcasing the process of a tree growing from seed to its full adulthood and how it interacts with all of the woodland animals that surround it. Next up is a book called Home, which is written and illustrated by Carson Ellis, another one of my favorite illustrators. This one isn't particularly an autumn book, but the illustrations are just so cozy that it is a perfect read for the autumn season. It says, home might be a house in the country, or an apartment in the city, or even a shoe. This is another new one for me. It is called Lawrence in the Fall by Matthew Farina and illustrated by Doug Salidi. Lawrence and Papa go searching for something to collect. What kinds of wondrous things might they find in the forest? This one is called Beatrice Likes the Dark. This one is written by April Genevieve Tuchok and illustrated by Powell. Beatrice likes the dark. She likes black clothes, graveyard picnics, and a sky full of stars. Her sister, Rue, likes the light. She likes bright clothes, picking strawberries, and hot sunny days. Can Beatrice help Rue love the dark as she does? Can Rue help Beatrice love the light? Or are they simply too different to get along? Next is a book called Mushroom Rain, which is written by Laura K. Zimmerman and illustrated by Jamie Green. Without warning, they appear. Mushrooms, what can smell like bubblegum, glow neon green at night, to be poisonous but still eaten by humans, and even help create rain? The answer is mushrooms. From their hidden networks underground to the fruiting body above, mushrooms can do incredible things. But don't call them plants. Mushrooms are fungi. They're more closely related to animals like you. Through lyrical text and colorful detailed artwork, the wonderful, mysterious, and sometimes bizarre world of mushrooms is explored. The next one is called The Lonely Mailman. It is written by Susanna Isern and illustrated by Daniel Montero Galan. Each day, the old mailman faithfully delivers special letters to the forest animals, but the mailman has never received any letters of his own. Then one day, everything changes. It's a very sweet story. The Wolf's Secret, written by Miriam Damon and Nicholas Degard, illustrated by Julia Sarda. Wolf is a hunter feared by every creature, but he has a secret. In the middle of the forest lives a young woman whose beautiful voice has entranced him. Then one day her voice becomes suddenly silent. Finally, the last one is called The Tea Dragon Tapestry. This is the third book in the Tea Dragon Society series. I selected this one because, one, it's my favorite of the three, I think. I loved them all, but I think this one is my favorite of the three. And this one also is the most autumnal. I mean, look at the cover. It is beautiful, and the color palette just screams autumn. Each story you could technically read on its own. If you wanted to read them in order, I did that, and you kind of just get some more backstory on certain characters. But technically the stories you could read separately without having to have read ones before it. So if you wanted to just pick up the last one, you could. So that was a very quick overview of this little collection that I put together to share with you of some autumnal and cozy picture book reads that I have collected over the years, as well as some new ones that I have collected this year from Powell's books. I hope some of them inspire you to maybe pick them up at the library or buy them new to browse and be inspired by the beautiful words as well as the beautiful and gorgeous illustrations. You will not be disappointed. With that, I think it is time to make some dinner. My husband Jake will be home soon, and then I'm gonna have a cozy night in, probably reading a book, as well as maybe watching something. I don't know. It's just nice to have a cozy evening. All cuddled up with candles and fairy lights and a hot cup of tea. Sounds nice. So I will connect back with you all in just a little bit.